Hi guys, and welcome to this weekly horoscope for Monday the 11th of July going through until Sunday the 17th of July 2022. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today, and I'm really going to have to use my brain here for this week because it looks unbelievably complicated. I figured that this week we have a full moon in Capricorn on Wednesday the 13th of July. So my thinking approaching this week was, oh, it's going to be practical and grounded and straightforward. We're going to enjoy working and setting goals. And then I looked at what the rest of the planets are doing, and it seems so complicated, and there are so many influences happening at the same time that it gets really easy to become derailed or to go off in the wrong direction completely. So I'm going to give you a rundown of what's happening this week. I'll go through each day to see what the planets are doing, what energy they bring up amongst themselves. I'm going to do that to the best of my ability because it is super complicated. So with that said, this isn't the week that's going to feel super straightforward. You're going to have to be somewhat disciplined with yourself and to kind of keep the focus on one or two things at the most. And the main thing I feel is not to let yourself become overwhelmed. So the things that are really important to you are work and productivity because of that full moon in Capricorn on Wednesday, but it builds its way up to being a full moon, so that energy kind of builds. And relationships you're not so interested in, particularly in the first 5 days of the week, Monday to Friday. What you do value and appreciate is common sense and reason, and you're not so interested in emotional connection with other people and yourself. Now, you may think that that's fine and easy. Okay, I just want to work. I don't want to really get involved in feelings and stuff. But the problem is, if you're taking practical action and you're not checking in with yourself, saying, okay, how do I actually feel about this? The problem is that you can completely gallop off into delusion and in the wrong direction. So yes, you can be super productive and make all these changes happen, but then when this kind of delusion energy wears off, you look at it a week later and you're like, what was I thinking? Why did I work on this for so long? The outcome is completely, or this is an area that seems completely wrong for me. So what I would say is that this week, operate with a sense of caution first and foremost. Go into it kind of thinking, okay, if I'm going to make these huge, big changes, have I checked in with myself? And do that deliberately. Is this something that if I look at it again in a week or months or even years from now, that I'll say, okay, I can see why I did that, rather than like, oh, what was that all about? Because that's a waste of time, right? If you're going off in a completely different direction that you're not even interested in and you work super hard at it, and then later on, it's like, well, then that's not a good use of your energy. Okay, so starting with Monday the 11th, by the way, we've got a lot of interactions between the planets. On Wednesday particularly, it's like a whole paragraph of the aspect patterns. So on Monday the 11th, we've got the moon in Sagittarius. That's fire, so you feel naturally optimistic and focused on adventure and how you can move forward. That opposes Venus in Gemini. Venus is the creative planet of love and beauty, and in Gemini, she looks at ways of how she can express herself. So that opposition in itself is confusing. Do I travel and explore, or do I sit back or sit at home and get creative and explore the what's going on for me internally and find some sort of way of expressing that? The Sagittarius moon then squares Neptune in Pisces. Where am I going? What direction should I move in? Trines Chiron in Aries. I owe it to myself to do something, even if I don't know the right direction. Sextile Saturn in Aquarius. I'm also willing to listen to other people. Quincunx's Mercury in Cancer. I need to take care of the family, and anything I express needs to be super loving and positive and nurturing. It also sextiles Uranus in Taurus and the Sun in Cancer. So do I change things in my practical circumstances, or do I focus on family? And you can see on Monday how all these differing influences pile up to the point where you're like, okay, what is it that I'm supposed to be focusing on? So Monday starts really weirdly with your attention being drawn in all these different directions. And for a lot of people that can feel frustrating. It's like, if I don't know what I'm doing, then what is this all about? So there are lots of different areas of interest here. So creativity, self-care, being of service to others, education, making changes at work and family relationships. there are only 24 hours in the day, so give yourself a break and say, okay, what's most important to me? I can't do everything at once. The reality is that you can make progress in one or two areas, but the key is not to overwhelm yourself and to try and keep it simple. On Tuesday, the 12th of July, we've got the moon now going into Capricorn at 1 minute past 11 in the morning, and that's starting now this build up to the full moon on Wednesday. The Capricorn moon then squares Jupiter in Aries and trines Mars in Taurus. Mercury in Cancer squares Chiron in Aries. So the Capricorn moon and the friction it creates with Jupiter in Aries says, I want to go in a direction, and that is key. I want to make progress here. That's what's most important to me. Mars in Taurus is ambition and drive, and that's also in an earth sign, the same way the moon is in Capricorn, an earth sign. So again, I want to do things which are practical and where I can get some sort of tangible outcome that I can see and hold and touch as a result of my work. Mercury in Cancer with the square in Chiron in Aries pulls you away from that and says the thing that's going to be most helpful in my life is if I don't help myself, but instead if I help other people. So again, it puts you at odds. Which direction do I go in? My work, my path in life, or my family or my friends or my partners? Venus in Gemini also trines Saturn in Aquarius. So it seems that inspiration seems to come from other people instead of yourself. I don't know about you, but I mean, I'm no great artist or writer, but whenever I've written something that I'm really proud of, it's something that's personal to me and that I felt. Anything where I'm responding to things that exist in the outside world, that's more about reason and logic, and that's more about writing a paper or doing research or writing a textbook, that kind of thing. So with the Venus in Gemini trine Saturn in Aquarius, you're far more focused on kind of scientific information that's meant to educate. So on Tuesday, you do value common sense and productivity on this day. You are going to want to take practical action over indulging in emotions and what you feel to be excessive sentiment. So with that said, that's the whole thing. You feel like anything that's emotional or that exists in that kind of inner state, anything that's governed by the moon, your heart, the way it feels, you'll want to keep that at arm's length and say, okay, I don't want to engage anything that's kind of soppy, or it kind of puts down the emotions as something that's not practical and beneficial, and you disconnect yourself from it, and that's what kind of creates this environment that allows delusion to spread. Because if you don't know what you're feeling and doing, if you don't know what you're feeling, then anything you're doing, you don't know if it's right or wrong because you're not checking in with yourself. So Tuesday is a good day for anyone who works with information and organization. So just focusing on what it says on paper, facts and figures. It's not a great time to try and find emotional understanding or connection in other people. So if you're feeling misunderstood or you shared something really personal and you're getting no response, don't be overly surprised by that on Tuesday, because other people too are going to focus on, well, this is a blueprint that I can actually build something with. The fact that this person has just told me that they feel despair when it comes to the amount of work they've got to do, that's not something I can relate to and I want to pull away from. On Wednesday, the 13th of July, okay, this is the big one, right? So we've got the full moon in Capricorn. Full moon is the moon reaching this kind of climax in its 28-day cycle, and it showers us with energy. So we'll all feel a huge amount of Capricorn energy come in, which is an earth sign which says work, 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 make plans, get busy, and achieve those plans. And I just want to read you the list of the aspect patterns that are formed here via the planets. So the Capricorn moon opposes the sun in Cancer, hence the full moon, and it opposes Mercury in Cancer, which sits right on top of the sun. So Mercury, the communication planet in the water sign Cancer, is very focused on relationships and how you can come across in a way that's loving and parental, in a sense, kind of the head of the family. So again, it pulls you away from work in a practical sense, because do I work on my family relationships, or do I get things done in the work area of my life? Okay, deep breath. The Capricorn moon then conjuncts Pluto in Capricorn. It quincunxes Venus in Gemini, squares Chiron in Aries, trines Uranus in Taurus, and sextiles Neptune in Pisces. Venus in Gemini squares Neptune in Pisces, trines Saturn in Aquarius, and Mercury in Cancer squares Chiron in Aries and sextiles Uranus in Taurus. So with all of this, you're going to be pulled again in lots of different directions. Do I take care of other people? Do I study and educate myself? Do I dream and connect with my intuition? Do I paint a picture or write down my experiences? Do I want to affect change? Do I do self-care and isolate myself to make plans for the future? It's just like, which direction should I go in? So it surprised me a lot because the full moon in Capricorn says, okay, it's very easy to set certain goals and then to get busy with those goals. But here on Wednesday, the energy is so intense that it's very likely that you become confused about what you ought to be working on. It's like, I've got so many options, so many things are important to me. What should I actually get started with? That for me, what I feel is that there's real potential to become completely paralyzed on Wednesday and to say, well, I have absolutely no idea, so I'm just going to do nothing. So I think the solution is to try and understand what you're feeling. And you can do that by engaging with simple things like being out in nature, doing any kind of exercise that makes you feel grounded, connecting with watery things like being near the water or swimming or playing music or meditating. Anything like that is going to give you that sense of, okay, I'm landing in my own feelings. That's the key. And then I will take action. So it's important not to put the cart before the horse, right? Try not to rush off into being super productive in an area that you don't even know whether that's relevant to you. And get in touch with your feelings first is going to save you a lot of time and effort. So grounding yourself is key. And then also setting achievable goals. So doing things that are actually doable. You know, if this kind of confusion comes in and it's like, okay, I work as a dentist, but I've decided now that I want to be a film star in Hollywood. I mean, for a few people that may work, but for most people that's an unreasonable expectation and it's going to be really difficult to achieve. So keep it practical, keep it attainable and reasonable, again, reason. That's going to make you feel like, okay, I can actually do this and give you a sense of well-being at the same time. Thursday, the 14th of July, we've got the Capricorn moon now conjuncting Pluto in Capricorn. So that's way over the top as well. It says, my work, I'm expecting of myself, if I do any bit of work, that changes the entire world and my entire environment like this. So it's not just delusion in the sense of what can I do here, it's unreasonable expectations of the outcomes. If I do a little bit of work, then I'm expecting this much of a result. And that's not fair to you because it immediately puts you on the back foot and says, well, I'm disappointed in the outcome. Venus in Gemini squares Neptune in Pisces, so the creativity level comes back a little bit and it'll be easier to get in touch with your own feelings through some sort of spiritual practice. So again, if you feel like, well, I have no idea what I'm doing here, then connect with that, whatever it is that makes you feel like, okay, I know what I'm feeling, life makes sense, now I can go off and do one or two things. The moon enters Aquarius at 10:13 in the morning on Thursday. So the moon now in Aquarius is about ideas and thinking, connecting with other people and being scientific. So that may help clear things. So things start to make a little bit more sense, particularly if you do your research and talk to other people. The Aquarius moon then squares Mars in Taurus and it sextiles Jupiter in Aries. So on Thursday, even work and setting goals and being practical, which has kind of served as a refuge all week and which has kind of protected you from any weirdness when it comes to your feelings or a lack of understanding, that seems now problematic and challenging because it's like, okay, I'm not really being reasonable in terms of what I'm expecting of myself. So I think on Thursday, enjoying simple pleasures that make you feel loved and understood, that's going to take some of the pressure off. And because of the Venus and Gemini and Neptune connection via the square, I think anything that allows you to be creative, to express yourself, or anything that allows you to tap into your higher self, that's going to be easiest. And I'm deliberately leaving out other people and trying to attain some sense of being loved, because I feel that most of us are going to have so much going on here this week, especially these first 4 days, that there isn't going to be a lot of patience and time via others to understand exactly what you're going through, because they're going to be dealing with their own stuff. So you can see how this is a challenging energy. It's like everyone for themselves. People are just reeling and trying to understand what is going on for them. So if you're looking for compassion, or if you're someone who constantly needs approval and support, and you find it difficult to stand on your own 2 feet, then actually this week is an opportunity to learn how to do that. On Friday, the 15th of July, we've got the Aquarius moon now forming a conjunction with Saturn in Aquarius. So that Saturn is solidity and structure and foundation, right? And Aquarius is the way you think. It's the humanitarian, and it's logic and reason. So things cool off a little bit. You start to feel a little bit more, oh, okay, things actually do make a little bit of sense. Squares Uranus in Taurus and trines Venus in Gemini. So you're able to express things, or kind of to play the tape forward a little bit and to see, this is what I can do in order to get the result that I want. So it's no longer delusional. It's kind of like, this is reasonable. If I take certain actions, I will get a particular outcome. The Aquarius moon then sextiles Chiron in Aries, and it quincunxes Mercury and the Sun in Cancer. That's, again, a little bit back and forth. Do I study and learn, and do I focus on education and what makes sense, or do I let myself be loved and nurtured by other people? Which I think, again, or do I take care of the family? I think that understanding and trying to sort things out, especially to make sense of the last 4 days, Monday through to Thursday, that's going to be much more productive than giving your power away to other people. Venus is in Gemini, and that quincunxes Pluto in Capricorn. So looking at the changes you can make in your practical life, the expectations have come down, and if you get any inspiration or ideas, those are things that you can believe, and they're likely to pay off in your favor, and most importantly, they're actually attainable and achievable. So on Friday, your thinking and your emotions, they settle a little bit, and you're able to make sense of things more easily. So I can relax. Family relationships and new ideas for businesses, inventions, or ways that you can innovate, they become clear and apparent to you. So both are open. Family relationships and innovation, kind of scientific, coming up with a new scientific method or something new for education. It depends on what your area of interest is. If you want to connect with family and improve relationships, that works. If you want to invent a new gadget or write the new curriculum, that also works. But the key thing, I think, is pick one. Don't try and do both. That, again, then is too much, and it means that you're not going to make as much progress as you potentially can do. On Saturday, the 16th of July, we've got the Aquarius moon now trining Venus in Gemini. So you're inspired by what you're learning and hearing about and thinking. The moon then enters Pisces at 18 minutes past 10 in the morning. So this is nice because on Saturday, I absolutely know what I feel. Plus, I'm checking in with research and logic and reason. So anything that I'm planning now is not deluded. It makes sense. It can be achieved. The Sun in Cancer conjuncts Mercury in Cancer and quincunxes Saturn in Aquarius. So this now is kind of like a sense of responsibility. I need to use all of this knowledge that I've got to be there for other people. It's not like a done deal. If you want to invent something for yourself, you've got a choice. You can either, again, focus on family or invention and education, but I would urge you not to try and do both because it can become confusing. The Pisces moon then sextiles Mars in Taurus, so your intuition and your feelings allow you to take action steps which pay off in your favor. And Mercury in Cancer quincunxes Saturn in Aquarius. Okay, so if the action steps are, I want to improve my relationships, I want to spend time with family, great, fine. I want to invent something, I want to make sense of my schedule, or I want to do my taxes, anything based on information and ideas, that also works and will allow you to make a lot of progress. But I think the warning of Saturday is not to conflate the two. So on Saturday, for the first time this week, you're going to feel more connected to yourself and to other people. You're able to work well creatively, scientifically, administratively, if that's a word. And you can check in with your feelings to see whether certain actions actually are realistic and positive. So things start to calm down a little bit on Saturday, and you kind of land back on planet Earth, and it becomes more manageable. On Sunday the 17th then, we've got the Pisces moon trining the Sun and Mercury in Cancer. So we've got water, water, water. It conjuncts Neptune in Pisces and sextiles Pluto in Capricorn and Uranus in Taurus. So we've got water and earth. So now I want to make changes based on my feelings. So now you're getting whiplash. You're going in the completely other direction. It's like my feelings, now that I've got access to them again, are absolutely everything. And if I feel something, I have to take action based on it. Do you? What was that saying? I watched something years ago where it's like, one of the characters said, you can't really base your whole life on feelings that come in one moment and are gone the next, because it's like, what was it? Some metaphor about sand in the desert or something. You can't build anything on things that are constantly shifting and being blown away and transforming into new sand dunes. And then 5 minutes later, you look again and the whole landscape has shifted. So again, now I would say exercise caution when it comes to your feelings. Mercury in Cancer trines Neptune in Pisces. So now that I've said exercise caution with your feelings, Mercury, the communication planet in Cancer, my whole world is my feelings, and Neptune, the water planet in Pisces, is what I feel is the only reality that exists. The Sun in Cancer trines Neptune in Pisces, so more water. So you're getting away from all the air stuff, you're pulling away from innovation and education and science, and now you're trying to seek refuge in people and places and things that make you feel a certain way, particularly supported and safe. So it's almost like someone who's put themselves up on stage this week and has been super scientific and delivered some sort of, new way to split the atom, very kind of intellectually draining and demanding. And now it's almost like on Sunday you're exhausted and you just want to lie in a hammock and sip some pineapple juice and relax and feel loved and safe. It's like retreating from everything you've done. So you have a longing for simplicity and connection. Physical exercise and being out in nature will feel soothing. So again, I don't give all of your power away to other people, and using words like don't and should and ought, I try and avoid that. But on Sunday, I feel that if the sense of belonging and peace and safety and security, if the only way you get that is from other people, find new ways of getting that by being out in nature, by practicing self-care, by doing things that you have access to in the here and now, where you don't need other people. And I would also say, try not to be like a turtle retreating into its shell. Find ways of feeling emotionally held and secure and safe. And that will allow you to be in the present moment and to enjoy simple things in life and to recharge your batteries and to say, okay, this week I did come up with a lot of amazing ideas. And I don't know if I've mentioned this, but because this is so extreme, like kidding yourself into saying, okay, this is possible, even if it isn't, rarely, but sometimes, people achieve great things because they are completely detached from reality and they say, of course I can do this, I'll just try it, and sometimes it works. So if you're someone who wants to achieve great things or who wants to innovate new products or new ideas, ideologies, philosophies, it's way over the top this week, but you can have a result that's way over the top. So if you have kind of set these huge, unattainable, unique goals for yourself, try it out, because here on Sunday it's saying that intellectually you're spent. So you're able to give the best of yourself in those areas. So if for years and years and years you've been saying, okay, I need to publish my philosophy on the world, then this week really engage with that again, because it's like so disconnected from reason or mundane reality that to me it says there's the potential to actually achieve the seemingly unachievable. You see, this is why I said at the beginning, I'm going to have to use my brain here because it is so complicated. It's not even fake it to make it. It's just like delusions of grandeur can, in rare cases, become realities of grandeur. So if you have these demanding, uncomfortable expectations of yourself that you're going to be like the next Albert Einstein or something, and you're not going to rest until you've achieved that, then this is your week to try and make that happen for yourself. Yeah, no pressure. Okay, so that's what I get for this week. It's really, really full on. And another kind of warning I would just want to put out there: if you feel like sometimes you lose the plot a little bit anyway, and you find it difficult to kind of keep it reasonable and rational, be really nice to yourself and find simple things to focus on, things that ground you, things that make you feel safe, like you do have both feet firmly planted on the ground, because that's going to help you weather this storm. Okay, so that's what I get for you this week. I hope you have a wonderful time. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on Book Your Reading to order your reading with me. In my personal readings, I use astrology, the tarot, and numerology. So if you have any questions about your life purpose, things like moving, finances, travel, relationships, anything at all, please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and the little bell next to it, and share the video online. I hope you have an amazing week here. I'm going to make a separate video on the full moon in Cancer, just to go into more detail on that, to see what it's all about, because we've got so many aspect patterns, the ones I rattled off here on Wednesday. So if you want more information on that, check out that video. Have a wonderful time. Check out some of my other videos, the daily tarot readings, these weekly horoscopes, the videos on the full moons and the new moons, the little vlogs that I do, and also find me on TikTok at realgregoryscott.com. Have an amazing week, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.